This is FrontPage with Njideka Maduka, bringing clarity to the headlines, one page at a time.
That's right, FrontPage with me, Njideka Maduka. This lovely Thursday. I'm so excited because it is the first edition in the new year, right? So it's a good time to say Happy New Year. Hope you're great. Hope the year has been awesome for you. All right. So welcome to the front page once again. You know how we do it? We'll look at all the major headlines on our national dailies. We'll bring you up to speed so that you can know what is going on and make informed decisions if need be. Okay, so we have quite a number of them. Many things are actually happening in the country, but I've decided that I'm going to be focusing on just one majorly, and of course binge on the others, right? And so what do we have? We have the Sun, we have the Guardian, we have the Punch.
This is FrontPage with Njideka Maduka, bringing clarity to the headlines, one page at a time.
On the Sun, this one is actually heartbreaking because I've been following the story like it's my child. Okay, it says AFCON FG hails Super Eagles despite semi-final exit. AFCON FG hails Super Eagles despite semi-final exit. You know, like I said, I've been following the story, and if you check my last post in some of my social media handles, you will see the post about the Super Eagles celebrating their victory over the Algerian team during the quarterfinal. And, you know, since they were knocked out by the subsequent team, which is Morocco, I've been saying quite different shades of analysis. Some people have said, well, they played well. Other people said they didn't play well. But you know what they say? Tomorrow is another day, right? You win some, you lose some. So here's me wishing them the best in the next outing. The next game is actually on Saturday against Egypt for the third place trophy. So here is wishing them all of the best. They have tried, I think. On the Guardian, you know, I said I'm going to be binging on them. On the Guardian, ambassador's absence, desperation, expose FG's $9 million lobbying in US. Ambassador's absence, desperation, expose FG's $9 million lobbying in the US. See, the summary of the story is the fact that since we were designated as a country of particular concern by the US due to alleged Christian genocide, the federal government has employed the service of a public relations firm by name DCI Group, and they have been trying their best to see how the US officials can backtrack on their perception of Nigeria as being tolerant to Christian genocide. And they're spending a huge sum of $9 million, which is a huge sum. And some people are saying, well, all of those things are happening because of what one can actually call diplomatic lapse. Okay, or lapse in governance. I mean, if we have had ambassadors, they are the ones that should have been speaking for us, trying to see how the US can renege on their impression of Nigeria as a country tolerant to religious persecution. But of course, we know new ambassadors were not nominated since the last ones were recalled. Just recently that they were screened by the Senate. And some are saying if we had these ambassadors, they could have been doing this damage control as against spending huge sum on such venture. Then you have people who think it's about governance lapse. The fact that the government has not done what it's supposed to do, which is tackle insecurity. But if you had tackled insecurity, no country, including the US, would think that you are keeping mum when some sects in the country are being attacked by extremists. I mean, I was reading, there was a country by Chinua Achebe the other time, and he shared the same view. And I'm going to read what he said in page 251. He said, in many respects, Nigeria's federal government has always tolerated terrorism. For over half a century, the federal government has turned a blind eye to waves of ferocious and savage massacres of its citizens, mainly Christian Southerners, mostly Igbos or indigenes of the Middle Belt, and others with impunity. Now, this is not just about the current government, but previous governments before it. And this book was written like more than a decade ago. And so if the Nigerian government, whether current or previous, had done the due diligence of bringing to book perpetrators of terror, maybe nobody would actually be concerned about labeling them or labeling the country they govern as a country of particular concern. But we'll leave that story. Like I said, we're going to be binging on them. Then the Punch, US visa shockwave, Trump order may delay 5,000 intending Nigerian immigrants. US visa shockwave, Trump order may delay 5,000 intending Nigerian immigrants. Right? Basically, the immigrant visa has been suspended for 75 countries, including Nigeria. Some people say this suspension is good, so that maybe these people will stay back and contribute to the country. But for me, it's beyond them staying back, because one thing I know is that sometimes people devise other means to travel. And so if the US is blocking the route, they can try Canada, they can try the UK, but the larger conversation is, what is the Nigerian government doing to make the country habitable? Because if people are applying for immigrant visa, it means that they don't want to reside in the country. They want to reside outside the country, which for me, signifies a lack of interest in a person's country and some sort of thumbs down on the government of the day. Now we leave that story. We go to the Sun. Now this particular story caught my attention, and this is the one I'm going to focus on majorly. It says 2027 Kukah Dogara Musa tipped as possible Tinubu's VP. 2027 Kukah Dogara Musa tipped as possible Tinubu's VP. Now, pressure is mounting on President Bola Tinubu to ensure a religious balance on the presidential ticket as he goes for re-election in 2027. Daily Sun can review. Competent sources stated that forces from the United States have indicated a preference for a Muslim Christian ticket in Tinubu's quest to retain his position as president of Nigeria beyond 2027. I mean, look at that. We have the Bishop Matthew Kukah being penciled down. We have Yakubu Dogara, former speaker, being penciled down. We have the current Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, being penciled down. When I saw this caption initially, I didn't imagine a religious perspective to it. What came to my mind was, is Bishop Kukah now being considered for a political position? Because he seems to have been defending the current government. Remember the time he said, well, there is no Christian genocide. What you have are terrorists terrorizing the country, both Muslims and Christians. In fact, he was even appointed Pro-Chancellor of a particular federal university in Kaduna State. But after seeing the content of this headline, it became funnier to me, not just because Kukah and co were considered to maintain religious balance, but because of the people championing for such balance. According to what the Sun is reporting, some US forces want a Muslim Christian ticket as against Muslim ticket. Alright? So for me, it's funny because we have gotten to the point where unnamed US forces now want to determine who our vice president should be. The US will determine how we fight insecurity, and we also determine how we play politics. After designating us as a country of particular concern, they have been calling the shots, or would I say running the show. I don't know how true this is, but if true, one would ask, do you blame them? Do you blame the US? Because sometimes it seems it takes superior powers like the US to get us to act. I mean, you look at the push given to security fight after that designation by President Trump. That was when we started seeing or hearing security gains from left, right, and center. Oh, the military has killed. Oh, the military has rescued. The military has done this. The military has done that. And so sometimes it takes outsiders or superior forces to get us to do things. And sometimes it also takes privileged individuals to become victims before we pay attention to issues. I mean, you look at how government responded to Anthony Joshua's car accident, and now how attention is being drawn to the negligence at our hospitals due to Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's tragic loss of her son. So sometimes it takes some of these things for government to pay serious attention. But seriously looking at it in terms of the score by some US forces for religious balancing, the question is, if true, will President Tinubu consider it? The president I know has shown that when push comes to shove, he will go for anything that favors him politically. Is the reason he appointed people like Wike to be ministers, is the reason he appointed people like Ronald Mercury to be ambassadors, not minding that those people had spoken ill of him and his party in the time past. We saw what happened prior to the 2023 election when he picked a fellow Muslim to be a running mate. He talked about being concerned about competence as against people focusing on Muslim tickets. But of course, the story then was that he did that because he needed to protect his political interests, because the core northern Muslims wouldn't want to vote him if he had a northern Christian as a running mate. I mean, personally, I don't give a hoot about Muslim ticket or Christian ticket, but given that religious balancing had always been the tradition, why did President Tinubu overlook it at the time? And you also have to remember that he once reportedly shelved his ambition to be vice president to Muhammadu Buhari because some persons kicked against it. Remember, it was former Senate President Bukola Saraki who gave us that particular gist when he was fighting the APC leadership, when he was the Senate President. I mean, you know all of the stories, I can go into it. So what changed in 2023? Political consideration? Maybe. So the question is that political consideration going to play out again with this news of US forces seeking a Muslim Christian ticket? If the president used to it, will the core Muslim North still vote for him? Or was that a perception being cooked up by mischievous persons who wanted to create an impression that northern Muslims will not vote for a Muslim Christian ticket? If he doesn't yield to it, will the so-called US forces plan against Tinubu's victory, and how? In fact, is this whole story even true? Now, the people in question, Kukah, Dogara, Musa, how interested are they in this position? Kukah, as far as I know, is not a politician, which means if he must be considered, he has to join the party, which is the APC. Will he join? To be very interesting to find out. He's also from the Northwest, Kaduna State precisely, while the current Vice President, Kashim Shettima, is from the Northeast. If he's to be considered, that means the country's leadership hierarchy will need to be shuffled, because right now, we have a Northwesterner in the person of Jibrin Barau as Deputy Senate President from Kano State, okay, and of course House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas from Kaduna State, who is also from the Northwest. One geopolitical zone cannot occupy such high-ranking positions at the same time. But you never can tell, I mean, this is politics anyway. But Dogara, on the other hand, is from Bauchi State, which is Northeast, the same geopolitical zone as the current vice president. Will they go for him? I mean, he rejoined the APC a long time ago, and he kicked against the Muslim ticket in 2023. And so, will he be considered? Will this be his opportunity to, prove the point that a Muslim Christian ticket is what he has always wanted? Time will tell. 2027, no doubt, is going to be interesting. In fact, starting this year, 2026, is going to be one political drama and scheming after another. But in the end, the question will be, will Muslim Christian tickets solve the security problem in the country? When Trump launched missiles into Sokoto Forest, did he solve anything? No. He fired once, and that was it. And he was saying recently that he would like to make it once, but if needs arises, he can do it again. And I'm like, see, anyone serious about insecurity in the country should be firing every day, not once. Bomb the camps of the terrorists, which of course is superior equipment should be able to detect. But when you say it's once, you want to make it more than once, I don't know what to make of that. Because if you target forests and other similar camps, what about the soft spots, the markets, the mosques, the churches, right? These are places the US can target. And even the Nigerian government has not been able to bring sanity to those areas. And a Muslim Christian ticket, I don't think, can do it. Why? Because when you look at the insecurity in the country, it's a mixture of so many things, a mixed bag of so many things. You have insincerity, you have politics, you have incompetence. You have to also acknowledge the fact that we don't have adequate weapons. When you put all of these things, even inadequate personnel, when you put all of these things together, you know that it's not about Muslim Christian ticket or Christian Muslim ticket, even though, the balancing is necessary. But looking at the larger picture, I think we have to deal with those problems that escalate insecurity, because no political strategy or balancing can resolve it if we do not deal with those issues. Anyway, I have to leave it here. That's it on the front page today. Join me next time as we continue to look at the front pages, bringing you up to speed as to what matters. Right, you can join the conversation, drop your comment in the comment section. What do you think about any of the headlines? I'd like to hear from you. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms. Just visit linktree.ee/Njideka Maduka. linktree.ee/Njideka Maduka. I will catch you in the next episode. And of course, happy Armed Forces Remembrance Day. I didn't forget. Okay, today is January 15 and it's supposed to be a day to celebrate and remember those who have fought for our unity, those who have fought for our territorial integrity, who are no more, and those who are continuing that fight. We say good speed, and may God be with every one of us. My name is Njideka Maduka. I will see you next time. Have a great Thursday.